Well, good morning, everybody. Greetings and salutations to everybody out there in YouTube land. I'm your host once again, Dan Thornton. I want to thank you all for taking a little time out of your mornings to join us here on Lions Talk Live. And we got the bye-week edition, so we're going to get into it, just a couple different topics. Also try to talk to you guys about a few different videos we'll put out during the week, even on the weekend. In case you guys are bored, you're getting your Lions fix, you need something to talk about Lions, we'll have a couple things out there for you on Sunday. So with that being said, hey, in case you guys weren't aware, I'm trying to get this channel up to 5,000 and then beyond that 10,000. At 10,000 subs, I am trying to work out a sponsorship deal with a couple different companies to help provide some things for you guys for a tailgate at Ford Field. So if you guys haven't yet subscribed to Lions Talk Live, please consider doing so. That tailgate will be open to anybody who's a subscriber of Lions Talk, and it will go until supplies are exhausted. So the food, the drinks, yada, yada, you get it. Also, if you got an extra free second while subscribing, don't forget to hit that thumbs up button. Now, because it's not my only job, believe it or not, is I also do other things other than YouTube. I am a realtor, and I have been since 90, I don't know, somewhere in the 90s, early 90s. So if you're looking someone who's going to work on your behalf, not their pocketbook's behalf, give me a call. Shoot me a text, 269-998-2384. Let's see what I can do to help you anywhere in the state of Michigan. So it can be in the thumb, it can be in the lower peninsula, the upper peninsula, the left peninsula, whatever it may be. Let me see if I can work on your behalf and help you save money on the purchase of any type of property, commercial, home, secondary home, vacant land, whatever it is. All right, now let's get on from that because I already see the chat is moving a little bit this morning. And hopefully y'all got a kick out of the thumbnail. Please take it. It is a joke. And I already know I'm going to get some shots in the comment section in the next 24 hours about it. But, hey, I think you guys bring up a lot of good topics every day. Don and a couple other people called homes, General Homes, Dollar General Homes. So I thought, hey, have a little fun with the thumbnail. All right, let's get going to the chat because it is moving. T-Born, hey, good morning to you too. Good morning, Coach. Question, how much do you think Donovan Peoples-Jones will cut into, good question, J. Mo's PT? And do you think adding him was a sign that the coaching staff thinks Williams is a bust? I won't say they think he's a bust, but I do think they want to be prepared in case anybody else gets hurt. Marvin Jones leaving, while he wasn't having a huge season by any means, it did hurt our depth. I mean, he was still starting. So with that being said, we all get that Jameson Williams, he's got all the stuff anybody could ever ask. He's also going to have to keep evolving and developing as a player. I've said it a few times on the channel, but in my opinion, he's still a rookie. Donovan Peoples-Jones, on the other hand, is pretty established in the league. Yeah, I get his numbers haven't been great this year, and I think we can all look at the quarterback play in Cleveland and go, that's probably a good reason why. It's also probably why a couple of former Detroit Lions in the 90s didn't have better stats because they had Scott Mitchell throwing to them. So I think that's probably more the truth, that they just wanted more depth. Plus, Donovan Peoples-Jones does add a very big receiving body that we currently don't have on the roster. Laporta's, pretty good size, but as far as your wide receivers, I guess Josh Reynolds would be one of the bigger targets. And now you add Peoples-Jones, you got more options. How about that? Hey, Quentin, good morning to you too. Hey, greetings and salutations to you all. Anyone got a clue if Chicago really did take sweat to make sure we didn't get the guy? That's been speculation on my part since the first video I did just moments after the trade was announced. It doesn't mean they just didn't do it just to do it, but it just doesn't seem to make a lot of sense. And now you got Sweat coming out yesterday and saying, hey, I'm not signing any kind of long-term deal until after the season. So that could be an indication that he's not really planning on staying in Chicago. We'll see what shakes out. I mean, the guy did come from Washington, and obviously his career time there wasn't the greatest. So is he simply looking for something a little bit better? That we'll have to wait until the offseason to see. But either way, Chicago, just like, who's the receiver they traded for from Pittsburgh? They gave up a second-round pick, and the guy's not even there anymore. I can't think of his name right hand, but I want to say he's down in Miami. But At any rate, this could be another one where they give up a high draft pick and get really just a couple games out of the guy. And that's, boy, not how you want to be spending draft picks. All right. What do we got? AJ, good morning, all. That thumbnail. Yeah, I did have a little fun with that, man. And, I told you guys I was going to have some fun this week with some of the thumbnails based on what you guys say and stuff like that. So, hey, give credit to Don Burt and other people in the chat for that. You guys came up with that one for the most part. All right, Jess, what do you got? Good morning, chat group. Good morning to you too. Little John. Wait a minute. Let's see. We got Little John Flowers, like the Little John. I'll have to, if it is you, let me know, man. Kalamazoo native. But anyways, good morning to you too. Tori Apple. Good morning, Coach. Hey, good morning, dude. Phil, what do we got? Dave's do crew. Good. Greetings and salutations. Yeah. Greetings, salutations to everybody out there. Yep. Phil's greeting and welcoming everybody this morning. Doug, what do you got? That thumbnail? Yeah. How much longer until Houston gets back to the field? We need that guy. It'd be my guess late November, early December, somewhere roughly around there. I'm hoping for Thanksgiving, but with Campbell's presser a couple of days ago, it sounds like the team's considering more December. So we'll see. And even when he gets back, he's going to need a couple weeks probably to really kind of get into game shape. So I'm really anticipating when he does return to the team, his snap count's going to probably be pretty monitored. What do we got, Phil? Even when he comes back, game shape is going to take a bit. Yeah, 100%. Trey, this one got you, Dan. Hey, I'm glad you liked it, man. I'm assuming you're talking about the thumbnail, but if it's something else, Trey, just go ahead and let me know, man. The best early show in Michigan. Appreciate that. Yeah, appreciate that, guys. Yeah. America's team. Yeah, we're you bring that up, Phil, but in a lot of sincerity, I think the Lions kindly have become America's team this year. I think it probably all began with Hard Knocks last year. I mean, we did add some real personalities. Then we have the huge end to the season where, obviously we all know we start off kind of dismal and 1-6, turn around, nearly make the playoffs. Having that big win in Green Bay and primetime football to end the season last year probably helped things. Now you start this year, you win against Kansas City, you get on a little bit of a roll. You got people like Stephen A. Smith and other people jumping up saying, man, are the Lions actually one of the best teams in the NFL? And that's where I guess we can all debate, because I do think we're one of the top teams. Top 10 for sure. Could there be an argument made to be top 5, maybe top 4? Yeah. I think it could happen. And the way our season looks like, if we stay healthy, we keep winning, keep putting up numbers on offense, keep developing some of the younger talent to keep increasing, I think by the end of the season, when we get to the playoffs, we might be a hard out. We can all give Dollar General Brad a lot of grief for not adding more parts, but the more we look around at some of those parts he could have added. So Sweat, whether he would have signed in Detroit or not, let's also consider he's already come out on record and saying, hey, he's not looking to sign anything right now. So would you want to invest a 3rd or 2nd round pick into a guy who maybe told the Lions, yeah, I'm not going to sign if you trade for me? I'm thinking he probably been more inclined to do it than he would in Chicago. Who knows, though? Chase Young, I mean, you guys heard the report when I gave it a week or so ago. The Lions were vehement. They weren't going to trade for him. And you're hearing more and more people, like I know Dan Miller did a bit yesterday talking about it, and he's from Washington. He worked there for years for their team and other media outlets out there. Talking to his people, they all said the same thing that I think most of us have heard. Incredibly talented person, Chase Young, just doesn't always stay on script, doesn't always follow what the coaches draw up schematically. Whether or not that's BS, I don't know. But what I do know is if you're a coaching staff and a front office that wants to maintain the locker room and the core of the team a certain type of personality way, you're probably not investing in a guy like that if you really have doubts. I'd go back to Carter. I said it before the draft. I would like us to take Carter. I do think that we need to take into consideration that guy went through a pretty bad month or two before the NFL combine because of what he went through and how he showed. They said, yeah, we're not touching this guy. It's just too much of an unknown. And with Gibbs' performance this weekend, I think we probably all saying, yeah, we got Gibbs and Laporta for Carter. We're probably okay. But I don't know. We'll see. Way too long of a rant there. Apologize, guys. All right, J Mommy, what do you got? Houston won't be back until December. Yeah, that's what it sounds like. Trey, yep. All right, Garland, yeah. Good morning, all. Good morning to you too. J Mommy's in the house. That's correct. The infamous one, J Mommy. Garland, yep. Bergs, what do you got? Good morning, everyone, and Mr. Do himself. Thank you. I'm gonna have to try to do another thumbnail this week, something about the Do crew. And I actually did talk, when I've reached out to some companies, like I said, to try to get sponsorships for the 10,000 sub event. And one of them I did talk to was Pepsi Cola, and told them flat out, we already got shirts ready for you guys to print off to give out to people saying the Do crew and all that stuff. So there's gonna be a lot of forms for me to fill out for that one, but at least we're trying to make something happen. Good morning to you two. Greetings and salutations to you too, Phil. All right, Miles Marker. Good morning. Actually, nice morning. Yeah, it's the weather outside is getting a little bit more frightful, but let me tell you, the morning Mountain Dew is so much more delightful. Since I got no place to go, Phil, what do you got? Bergs. Yep. 301. All right. Donkey Kong Super Bowl or bust. Exactly. And I'll pose this to you guys. How realistic, since it's Donkey's morning ritual, that post. But serious question for you guys. Can the Lions get the number 1 seed? If they get the number 1 seed, that means everybody has got to go through Detroit. And that time of year when the roads and stuff aren't the greatest, think about this. Your team, you're probably arriving, let's say the game's Sunday. You're probably arriving Thursday, maybe Friday. Man, if you're a road team and if we get some real good Michigan weather over there, it means you're probably not leaving the hotel much for a day or two, maybe 3, unless you're walking out to someplace, because most of the teams when they get here, I guess you could Uber or something like that. But either way, those guys, when they come to Ford Field, are going to be incredibly limited to what they can go out and do for, like I said, a couple days. So it'll be, I think that's a huge advantage for the Lions if we can get the games here. So do you think the Lions can get the number 1 seed? Looking at that schedule and then looking at some of Philly's games coming up, especially the next, I want to say 5 or 6 games, then I think there's a real chance. And then obviously San Francisco, Seattle, they all have got to kind of beat each other up. A lot of them are in the same division. Anyways, Ryan, what do you got? Philly, Dallas, San Fran, and Seattle all have tougher schedules than Detroit. Talk amongst yourselves. Saturday Night Live. Yeah. I would say this, man. I think you and I are thinking the same way. I'm sure other people are too. It's just, man, if the Lions just stay healthy, stay effective, if we can get a win against the Chargers, I just don't see a ton of opportunities for us to lose. Obviously, you can lose any Sunday. We all get that. But, man, if MCDC really is the locker room guy, I think we all believe he is, this team's got a real shot. And we probably all need to sit back and enjoy this, second half of the season ride, because the chance of us seeing again, I mean, who knows? I do think we are going to probably keep building through the drafts. Holmes is great at, draft analysis and picking the right players. You got to give him that after 3 drafts. So how far do we go? That's why I'm thinking we got a real chance at this thing. All right. James, what do you got? Good morning, Coach. Nice that the Lions are 6-2 and get a chance to heal and relax a little. Then they can hit hard on the last half. Yeah, I agree. And James, like I was kind of just saying, the fact that the Chargers have to play Monday night, and this is our first game back after the bye, they got to play Monday night. We're going to have 2 weeks to heal up, rest up for them, and they basically have one less day. I mean, it's not a huge advantage, but something like the NFL or football in general, everybody's looking for some advantage. I mean, look at the Michigan, sign stealing potentially fiasco. I mean, every team I know, every coach I know, any sport I know, they all are the same thing. If they feel like they can get a nuanced advantage, they're going to take it. And the Lions are going to do it on this one. They're going to do it. They're going to have a big advantage here. And I think if they come out and win that game, then obviously, James and everybody, you look at the next few games after that, Lions could really have the potential to be something like 8-2, 9-2, maybe 10-2. I mean, I don't know. I'd have to look at the schedule, and I hate counting wins, but I will say this: the opportunity is there. Looks like we got Micro Mike. You up early, man? Yeah, 4:30, 5 o'clock every morning. Then get on the show here at 7 o'clock. So come on in and join us, man. This is what we do. Here's Johnny. Let's go 6-1, 5-2 over the next 7 games. That's what I'm just saying, Johnny. I think we got a real chance for that. I mean, what do you guys think? Go ahead and put it in the comment section. What do you guys think a realistic expectation for this team at the end of the season is? I don't know, man. I could see us just losing 2 or 3 more games. And okay, so 4 losses, 5 losses. 5 losses, what? You're 17-2 or whatever. It's just, or excuse me, 17 or 12-5 or 13-4. Sorry, man, it's morning and I haven't had my Mountain Dew yet. But I think it's a real opportunity. And then you look at, okay, what San Francisco's got to go through, Dallas has got to go through, Philly's got to go through, Seattle, their games. Yeah, they're going to beat each other up. And fortunately for Detroit, out of the core group in the NFC, the only team left that we face is going to be Dallas. Phil, any news about why Marvin Jones Jr. left the team? None that I really know of. And to be honest, I haven't asked much. I'm assuming it's something to do with his family, so it's probably more of a personal nature. So to me, even while I was a full-time reporter, that's kind of no-fly zone in my books. I don't want to be the tabloid person or whatever. The guy left. I mean, he's turning down some pretty good money to be with the team, and I get the impression he wanted to be with the team. So whatever it is, it's got to be of a very sensitive nature. Just something I don't want to mess with. All right, Phil, what do you got? Dude Crew showing up, Dave. That's right, man. We're gonna have to get jerseys, some gear, whatever. So if we pull that off, we do get we get Pepsi-Cola to help sponsor us for that event. Yeah, we'll have to make sure there's tons of jerseys or T-shirts or whatever for everybody. Don Burr, the godfather of this thumbnail. So I hope you enjoyed that, man. I hope you got a crack up when you saw that. But that you and some other people had some thoughts on Dollar General Brad Holmes. So I figured I'd go ahead and honor your guys' contributions with that. JP, good morning, Dan. Good morning to you, JP. Ryan, what do you got? Obviously, Kirk Cousins is out for the season, but will be ready in time for next season, or will he be out of some of next season? What would you? What team would sign him? What team will sign him, Ryan? That's a good question. I don't know. My guess is he ready by training camp next year? Probably. That seems realistic. Probably even before that, somebody's probably going to take a shot on him. It's just going to be a question who. I don't think he's going to return to Minnesota. I think their plans, and have been from the start of this year at least, is to try to start rebuilding the team. Their window of opportunity with or without Cousins, I think it's fairly closed. And they could have been much more competitive this year. They could have made a push against us and for the NFC North. We all talked about this in the channel for a while. Don't overlook them. Don't overlook Chicago by any means, in my opinion. But I do think they're probably going to be in line to try to draft one of the younger quarterbacks. Now, with the kid that they traded for from Arizona, he comes out and gets them some wins and keeps them relevant longer and longer this season. Maybe they do make a push this year. But I still think their future lies with a younger quarterback in the draft. We'll see, though. And Cousins, man, I don't know. I'm trying to think of who would sign him. I don't know. We'll have to leave that for some off-season stuff, or maybe I can think about it a little bit more. But, maybe if Stafford retires, maybe, they try to go after him. But I'm going to imagine if Stafford retires, then you got Donald probably retiring. A lot of their pieces then that are relevant are younger. You're probably looking to get a younger QB too. We'll see, man. All right, JP, the Lions are picking up fans from struggling teams. And they are a story that is easy to like. Yeah, I 100% agree. I mean, everybody who watches NFL football is aware the Lions have been the joke for 30 to 60 years. For those of you who remember the movie Major League, if they were to make it now and make it on football, chances are, if you go back 2 years ago, they would have made it on the Detroit Lions. This team still stinks. Joe Boo needs a refill, except you would have been doing all that with the Detroit Lions. Thankfully, they're turning some things around, but I also think because of Campbell's personality, because of some of the characters on the team, because of the story, the curses, whoever's curse, Wayne Fontz's curse, whoever it is. I think, yeah, they're real super likable. Everybody's kind of rooting for them, even if they come play your team. I bet you there's a lot of fan bases that do root for us, even though we're playing against them. A buddy of mine flew up from Texas to Lambeau Field. It's Mike Stewart. I know he watches every once in a while, so there's a shout out for you. And he was telling me a couple days ago when we were chatting, he was like, man, if you ever get a chance to go Lambeau Field, go do it. He was describing the town and everything. I've never been there. Never really wanted to drive over for a game there, but he said you got this super small town, working town, blue collar town. And then you turn a corner, all of a sudden there's this massive stadium. He said he was going out, enjoying some festivities before the games and then even at the games, and everybody in the town is super nice. Oh, you're a Lions fan? Hey, great job for you guys this year. If hope we beat you guys, but if not, good luck on your season. And that's, I just kind of I think a summary of how most of the nation views the Detroit Lions. If they make a run in the playoffs and they get the Super Bowl, I bet you that thing is going to be one of the more watched Super Bowls ever. Doesn't mean it'll be number 1 or 2 or whatever, but the fact that you've got so many people, it's kind of the American culture. You could say that all of us, we root for Rocky Balboa. We root for the underdog. And the Detroit Lions, at least this season, will be the underdog. They keep winning for a couple more years in a row. You'll lose that status, and then people will be rooting for you to lose. But at least for this year, we are the talk of the nation. All right, now what do you got? Man, if Sweat doesn't sign like tomorrow with the Bears, I'm going to have fun with those fans. Yeah, and that's, Don, I don't know if you caught it when I was first talking about it, but he's already come out and said yesterday, I'm not looking to resign right now. And I don't think he specifically said with the Bears, but he said at least right now. So, man, once again, Chase Claypool, that's the receiver I was talking about. They lost that guy. They gave up a second rounder for him. Now they're going to trade a second rounder to get Sweat and maybe not get him. Yeah, it is what it is. Ken, good morning. Danny Do. All right, I'll add that one to the list. That's a good one, man. Phil, no way we want Sweat. I don't know enough about him to be able to say one way or another, Phil, but either way, we ain't got him. Jay Mommy, I saw that Chase is bad news, not a team player. Yeah, at least right now, he's going to have to do something to change that rep. He's got agents. He's going to have a real talk, come to Jesus moment, and his agents are going to have to talk to him and say, hey, you got to do everything you can from a PR standpoint to change the narrative regarding you. He's going to get paid by somebody this offseason or next upcoming offseason. But whatever it is, he's got to do something to entice teams to want to sign him, whether it's San Francisco or wherever. Otherwise, he's leaving a ton of money on the floor. All right, Lion King, good morning to you. Lion King, thankfully, Brad Holmes shopped at Grand Circus Park on Donovan Peoples-Jones. I do think, the more you get looking at it, it's not a bad pickup by any means, especially for what they gave up. The other thing I would tell you guys, if you're really bored this weekend and you want to watch some coaching film on Peoples-Jones, pay attention to his run blocking. I don't think that was lost on this, administration. I think they've seen lots of different aspects of him, and the fact that he just wasn't being utilized in Cleveland, I mean, good for us, man. Brad Holmes loves to shop at Dollar General or wherever, Dollar Store Tree or whatever, to find great value. The more I watch some film on him, I'll say this. I think he could end up being something here in Detroit. Doesn't mean he's going to replace Amon-Ra St. Brown or that Jameson Williams is a bust or anything. It just means for what you gave up, you got some pretty good value. And you watch his run blocking, even when he occasionally takes on defensive ends, he's effective. He's got some size, and he knows leverage concepts. I wouldn't be surprised if somebody told me, hey, in high school or some jazz, this guy was a wrestler, because you watch how he uses his hips, his elbows, things like that. He's pretty good at it. All right, Mr. Nico, good morning, Coach. Hate to bring this up, but where do you see Ben Johnson going to after this year? Do you think he will gambles and stays? I know he did that last year, and we should all be very thankful for it that he's here this year. He does legitimately seem to care for the Lions. He does, seem to appreciate Campbell real well and Jared Goff. Excuse me, guys. One thing I do say, I don't know where he'll go. I guess Las Vegas would be probably an ideal setup. If you could help revitalize Jimmy G and some of the other players you have there, that's a great setup for him. But with that also being said, it would be my anticipation the team's already aware that they're on borrowed time with him. So whoever your quarterback coach is or some of the other people close to Ben Johnson, Campbell in the front office told him, hey, do everything you can to learn from him this year. The playbook, some of what his tendencies are. Basically, we want you to be his apprentice this year. And potentially they did that last year as well. So one of those guys, if they do a great job and then can convince Holmes, Campbell, whoever, that they really did learn from him, they're going to be the next offensive coordinator. They're just going to be asked to basically continue what he was doing. Whether or not that all shakes out, who knows? But having watched teams long enough where this type of situation emerges, you should see somebody basically having a 1 year, if they planned this 2 years ago, then a 2 year window to understudy from them. It's unfortunate, but when you're successful, people are going to come and try to steal your parts because they want to be successful like you. All right, Dash Rendar. Good Thursday morning, everyone. 12-5. All right, I take 12-5 because I would say we definitely have probably one of the top 3 seeds at 12-5. I think if we can get to 13 or 14 wins, and I get that's tough, then we got a shot at the number 1 seed. Maybe 12-5 does it too, though. Don't discredit that. Ken, what do you got? They may bill willing to take on a Carter in a few years when the current rookies are entrenched, in the culture as veterans and can help a quote Carter to adjust to the gritty way. Yeah, I think you're 100% right there. Man, maybe even as soon as next year or the year after that, right? Because at that point, your Panay Sewells, Amon-Ra St. Browns, all of them, they're starting to hit their peak or their prime in as far as their NFL lives. They've been here long enough. The culture has been established. But I'll leave stuff like that up to Brad Holmes and MCDC. This is their show. So far, we can all say they're doing a chef's kiss performance from what they got when they took over the franchise to where they are now. I get we can all pick parts and say, hey, Trinity Benson didn't work out, but ain't nobody in any profession going to hit every jump shot. Somebody is going to make a bad call here and there. But when you look at the analytics, their success rate has got to be up somewhere around 80 to 90% on player acquisitions. Very few of these guys are not working out. Levi Onwuzurike, I think, would have worked out. Unfortunately, you know what? His back didn't hold up. He took a shot. It was great value for where you got him. It didn't work out. But to your point, Ken, I think you're talking 100% correctly about the future. Phil, if the Cards go our way, it's possible. Yeah, as far as the number 1 seed, definitely. Brent, good morning, New Crew. All right, a 13-4 and a first round bye. That would be something, man. First round bye, and just the more we can keep everybody coming to Ford Field, 100%. Manifest my destiny. Good morning, Dan. How's the family? Doing well, man. Doing very well. Only question I have is, what are your expectations coming back from the bye, and how many wins do you see the Lions having? Right now, I'm gonna say 12-5. I think we're gonna drop a game we probably shouldn't. Who that's going to be against, I don't know. I think it's just the law of averages. It's hard to stay that healthy and that hot all the time. We do have good depth at almost every position. We start getting CJ back and Houston back, especially CJ if he comes back. Now you got a little bit more depth in the secondary. If Gilmore can be developed a little bit more, maybe he can add some depth there. The only real question I have on the team, and you guys have heard it before, is opposite Aiden Hutchinson pass rusher. Somebody who can have a 60 to 70% win rate when blocked in solo assignments. So we don't have that currently. I would even say we don't have anybody who wins half the time opposite of Hutchinson in single block assignments. But we'll see. Hopefully they can coach him up a little bit. But I'm going to go with that. 12 wins for right now. Gary, what do you got? Coach, will Aaron Glenn and Ben Johnson be head coaches next year? If so, what teams do you see him coaching for? I do believe they'll both be gone. I do. Ben Johnson right now, I'll go with Las Vegas. It just seems to make a lot of sense. They're tied to Jimmy G for a little bit. They've got a star receiver. They actually have a couple nice receivers. Defense, it's out there a little bit. The tough part for Aaron Glenn is the league typically goes for offensive people for head coaches. Doesn't mean I agree with it. There are some exceptions. Maybe Washington for Aaron Glenn. I'm trying to think of maybe some other teams. Washington would probably seemingly be the best fit just because they do have some pretty good defensive parts. They've got some good offensive parts too. But from just looking at a lot of the things that are out there and where you're expecting head coaching openings to be, that would seem I would probably say by my number one expectations for Aaron Glenn. And I hope he gets it, man, because he's put in some time, some work. He's taking shots from me, probably a lot of you guys watching, other people who aren't watching. But we can all say this: that defense has improved. It may not be number one in the league, but it's not where it was even a year ago or 2 years ago. Bergs, what do you got? I think it's possible Eagles' schedule is brutal and don't trust Niners. That'd be nuts. All roads go through Detroit. It's clear Lions play much better at home. Yeah, they play much better in the dome than on the road. And there's a lot of reasons for that. But we could probably all say most teams do play better at home, right? So I'll say this. You look at the schedule lineups. The thing I like the most is a lot of our competition for the number one seed. They're playing each other to beat each other up. We all get Seattle and the Niners are in the same division. Philly and 49ers play. I couldn't tell you offhand if Seattle and Philly plays this year, but I think you guys get the point. You're going to have Philly and Dallas play a couple times and just stuff like that where just one way or another, they're going to gain some losses. And we will too. We're not going to finish with 2 losses probably, but we'll see what shakes out. But it's going to be, how about this? We can all say this. It's going to be a fun ride watching this unfold. And for the first time in a billion years, we're all not talking draft talk, at the bye. We're talking about playoffs, seedings. Man, can this team lose to this team? Can we get a win here and there? And it's exciting, right? It's something most of us haven't seen before. And a lot of us, even me, I got to go back to where I'm in my 20s to the last time the Lions went through stuff like this. All right, Ken, I think we can make it to number one thanks to the schedule. Yeah, I agree. I agree with that. All right, Jennifer, good morning. One Pride. Good morning to you, too. Hopefully you're having a Mountain Dew day. That's a great day, by the way. Bergs, health is number one priority, and then sky's limit for the Lions. Hey, why not us? Exactly. Why not us? And maybe we've all been beat up so much, PTSD from being Lions fans forever. But I'll say this. We hold up. We don't get a rash of injuries. We do have some depth. I think we can get some wins here, especially if some teams start checking out and trying to play, the draft stock status, where they're trying to play for higher draft purposes. That could actually help us in some ways. All right, Don, what do you got? I think Brad Holmes has expectations that Josh Pascal will pop soon, and that's why he's stood pat. He is a high second-round pick. Finally showing some promise. Yeah, you think of him, Houston, maybe Broderick Martin. Maybe this guy's farther along than we anticipated. And I did watch a couple different times his limited amount of reps the other night. His first few, he gets blown up. After that, you could see he starts calming down a little bit. So those couple of guys, and probably others, if they develop, maybe the need to go out and acquire some other guys wasn't as obvious or as important as we were all thinking it would be. All right, Phil, what do you got? If Ben or AG leaves, who do they take with them coaching-wise? Boy, who knows? I still think Hank Fraley is probably one to be out the door too. And not that, I want to be clear. I think these guys all enjoy being here. But you guys have also heard me talk about, as a coach, you get your opportunity to get that pay raise and job increase. You got to take it. If I was Ben Johnson's dad, I probably would have slapped him in the face last year, because you just never know if you'll get another opportunity. That's the tough part. It's easy once you've had head coaching status before, because people do tend to like to go back to the well. When you never had it, so Ben Johnson's case, if the Lions would have came out and laid an egg this season offensively, there would have went his opportunity to be a head coach. Thankfully for him and the Lions, that hasn't happened. They're still relevant. They're still, doing Detroit offense things that are enticing people to want to hire this guy. But it's just one of the hard realities as a head coach, man. When you're hired to be fired. So take that check, get the experience. And, Josh McDaniels is an example. He got one shot. And because he got that shot, he ended up getting another shot. Now he has blown up both opportunities, but Ben Johnson or any of these dudes, you get a chance to go. You can always come back to be a coordinator. You cannot always elevate to be the head coach. So I wish them all well if that's what happens. If it doesn't happen where they're hired and they're all back here, we're all singing kumbaya. But Hank Fraley deserves a head coaching job as well. He's done a great job. Jennifer, what do you got? I was not upset at all with Brad Holmes. I believe he knows what he is doing. I think he believes in James Houston. Yeah, 100%. I think he believes in him. Pascal, like I think Don was saying, probably some of the other guys we're not considering. We don't see them all day by day by day. Some of the lack of sacks that I know everybody's kind of talking about, to me, a lot of that comes down to schematic principles. We face a number of more mobile quarterbacks, and when we face those guys, universally, the defensive formation Aaron Glenn is like to run with the front four is a cone formation around them to try to contain them and push the pocket at them. I'm not going to go through, doing the play-by-play on all that. You guys, most of you have heard me talk about it, so I think you get it. But that does kill your ability to get to the quarterback because you're not asking guys to use up and unders, rip throughs, or anything like that. You're asking guys to push the offensive line back at the quarterback. All right, Ken. Also, I think Ben stays. Ben Johnson is smart too. Ben knows a good job is a rebuild job. And 3, Ben is a smart guy. Yeah, he's a smart guy. Who knows? Maybe it's not everybody, believe it or not everybody wants to be a head coach. It's not always fun. There's a whole lot more work that goes on as the head coach than there is as an assistant or OC. Just for like my situation, we've been going through 3 weeks of, preseason stuff already. My assistant coaches haven't shown up once, and I don't yell at them about it. It's because I need them for the season, not the preseason stuff, at least not this part of stuff. And that's true with a lot of coaching staffs, even at the professional level. Some guys have a little bit more leeway to come in and out, especially to your point, Ken, Ben Johnson or AG or whoever. If they don't take head coaching jobs, sometimes it can be because they're more worried about other aspects in life, their family or whatever. So that head coach, in order to retain them, says, hey, you want a little bit more time off so we can keep you, but you can have more time to go do you things. Sold. All right. Lions talk with the bad guy. What do you got? Long week of rest, and I think we need to get our O-line healthy. Yeah, and they're getting healthier. I would say this. To me, it's been a telling tale. Big B hasn't been out on the field starting more and more. I think his back's got to be pretty bad, and I also think the other part is when you watch him out there, his offensive line play isn't as great as probably we all went into this season anticipating. I think he's regressed. I think he's really struggling in a lot of his stances, and that's probably because of his back. And that back, if you look at him, is affecting his hips and a lot of his footwork. He's lost some speed or his ability to turn. So I think more than likely the rest of this year, Big V is going to be a backup. But you know what? That's a good thing you got Glasgow and some of these other guys developing. All right, what do you got? Duncan, Super Bowl or bust. I like that. I have not heard that before. I might have to use that somewhere. All right, Ryan, if Lions go 4 to 5 wins the rest of the way, they are 10-7 and in playoffs. I think about that. 6-2 is really a great place to be. Yeah, and I think they're going to, to your point, I'm sure you agree. They'll probably get a few more wins. It's possible they get 6 more wins the rest of the way. They do that, they've got a real opportunity to have one of the higher seeds, if not number 1, maybe. Phil, Mike Kimber. Yep, Mike is in the house, or at least he was. I don't know if he still is or not. Mile marker. Recall last year after bye, we lost. It was the last game. The last game we lost for a while, but makes me nervous for this year. Is what it is, man. I do think in the game of football, there's something to be said for having time off. And now when you come back out to contact, it takes your body a little while to get used to that kind of punishment, almost kind of null it for a while. But you know what? Everybody's going to get a bye. You're going to get healthier. You're going to have to get over that. My guess is the Lions are going to have to do something to make sure that when they go into San Diego, or excuse me, the Chargers, they make sure they do everything they can to get that win. To me, this is probably the most important game of the remaining portion of the season schedule for them, because when you come out of that bye, you want to reestablish your identity, your beliefs, your traits, and then that will carry over a lot easier into the next one or next game. So we'll see what shakes out. All right, Ken, what do you got? 12 to 14 wins. I take it, especially if it's 14, man. We get anywhere in there, we're probably in pretty good shape for the postseason. Silver Surfer, hey, good morning, man. And hello there to you too. Gary, 12-5. I'll take that, man. Jay Mommy originally said 13-4. If everyone is healthy, I could see 15-2. Oof, that would be a heck of a run, wouldn't it? The Lions finish the year 15-2. I'll tell you this. That means there'll be a whole lot of Madden player ratings increases if that happens. Most of you probably, if you played Madden, you get that. All right, James, what do you got? Lions are good enough to go undefeated in the last half, but things don't always go your way. And if they need to fix a few things in the defense. So hopefully only 1 or 2 more losses. Yeah, I'd say, that's about right. You're not going to win everything. You're going to lose a game you probably shouldn't have. The one thing I think a coach in any sport will tell you, you're going to drop one you probably shouldn't. You're going to win one you probably shouldn't. They kind of even out, but we get 1 to 3 more losses, probably take that. All right, Ken, what do you got? Personal equals private. Good thing the Lions cut him. Full pay is nothing if he's retired. If he's retired, he's not going to get the rest of his contract, whatever it is. So personal reasons. Hopefully everything's okay. I've got a pretty good idea what it is, but not my place and not what I'm going to do on this channel. Let the guy be. Let him focus on his family. So hopefully for them everything's okay. All right, Don, y'all tripping, man. All these crazy records, 15-2 except. Come on, Don. I don't think we can go 17-0, can we? You gotta smile and believe we can go out there and win every game, man. I'm down with it too, man. Go out, man. Win every game the rest of the way. That would put us in the Super Bowl. Lions talk with the bad guy. Dollar General all day was Bradley. Yeah, hey. He's making it work, man. Give him that. Detroit D, good morning, everyone. One Pride, good morning to you, too. Hopefully you're having a good one. Donkey Kong, 18-2. I'll take that, man. I'd take that big time because I know exactly what that does for us. Phil, Vikings were on fire. They were. Now they're maybe lukewarm, but we'll see. I mean, who knows? Maybe the new quarterback comes up and just lights it up. So they may not be dead yet. Skull Vikings fans, yes. Don Young, hi, J Mommy, yes. Aaron Smith, Michigan man from Melbourne, Australia. Hey, what's going on? You down there visiting or you live there now? I guess let us know, man. Hopefully you're having a good one. Don, Vikings stink. I guess I can say suck on. Yeah, I guess I'm okay with that. All right, Phil. Who's wild thing on our team? Who would be the wild thing? Man, that's a great question, Phil, man. If we're using the major league reference, oh boy, maybe Jameson Williams, because he's got to learn some control with his hands, right? He does that. Yeah, they can bring him in and hey, don't give him the curveball, give him the heater. Just beat him down the field, man. Run a fly pattern. Ken Wise, what do you got? Detroit was where veterans went to get a big bag of coin before retiring. It used to be, and that was the knock on Detroit for a long time, man, is that we'd get some names like Pat Swelling, but on their downside. And, it is what it is. You could even argue Dre Bly when we got him as a player. He was not ascending. He was descending. FGB. Okay. All right, Don. I'm not sure what that one means, but excuse me, Don Young. Yeah, I'll go with that. Don, what do you got? FGB. Okay. I don't get those, so I'll trust you guys. Lion King, Hard Knocks put us on the map. Yeah, I would agree. There was, especially in the first couple episodes, there were a lot of things that, man, just were great for television. Whether it was Hutchinson singing or Deuce Staley and Aaron Glenn getting after it. I mean, that was some good TV. I thought some of the other episodes towards the end started dying down a little bit, but hey, it's hard to make something out of that all the time. Can a coach be wild thing? That might be a good one. MCDC for that. Yeah, totally. Don, Detroit will be a destination for free agents next offseason, next year, even more now. I do believe there's a lot of truth to that, man, because you see what's going on here. You see the coaches. You see the players. Is it going to work from everybody? No, but no situation does. But to your point, Don, I do think you're going to see more and more higher level free agents consider coming here. Man Bear, hey, good morning to good morning to you too, man. Gary Myers, what do you got? Dollar Tree, aka Buck Leaf. All right. Jennifer, Ben Johnson, Las Vegas. Yeah, it does seem to make sense to me. So, but who knows what will happen. Silver Sir, the only trade I would have done, giving up first, second, and third, would have been Crosby. Defense would be reckoned for years. Boy, I was impressed. Welcome, peeps. Yeah, and Surfer, yeah. Giving up stuff, I agree with you because him and Hutchinson, I mean, one of them would help elevate the other. If Crosby's that big of a pain now, imagine when you got to pick your poison. Who are you going to double team unless you're just going to leave more personnel in? I would think if the Lions could get a Crosby or somebody like him, you'd have to see a lot more teams play, basically 21 personnel. So 2 running backs in the back, 1 tight end. I just don't think, man, unless you're going to do all 3 step drops and quick releases, you'd have to do something to neutralize that pass rush, or you're just asking that quarterback to get beat on. Phil, Goff might make a good coach after his football career. Could be. I mean, quarterbacks, they do see certain things that most other players don't get to see, and then especially have to deal with. So you're not wrong. It's used to be like in basketball, the saying was, you want to hire a former point guard just because they have to do a little bit more as far as the schemes. That's probably not so true in basketball anymore, but I get to your point. Yes. 313, good morning. Think Broderick going to play coming out of the bye? That's the $1 million question, man. I guess it comes down to bugs and, other people's health. But all this is ultimately on Martin. As much as he keeps progressing, at some point, if he progresses enough, the coach is going to have to put him out there. So I think they're doing the right thing with him. But remember, man, a month ago, we were all talking about Jack Campbell, Gibbs, about why these might have been wasted first-round picks, or, man, we should have taken them in the second round or whatever it is. But I think more and more you're seeing it's not that these guys are bad. It's just the players in front of them were simply taking snaps away from them. I do think Jack Campbell, even though we haven't talked about him a ton, watching him, especially when he drops into coverage, some of his rushes on the outside, he has developed already, and I think he's going to develop more. I think we all get after last week, Gibbs, yeah, he's good to go. And if you go back and watch like the Atlanta game, heck, man, even the Kansas City game, when he first hits those holes, and we've talked about it on the channel, he was hesitant, especially between the guards. He just, he didn't allow blockers to set up. He just ran in there and sometimes outran the blocking assignments. So I'm sure that's nerves or rookie stuff or whatever. But if you go back and watch him now, or at least, against the Raiders, he was setting a lot of things up, and then it showed. He squeezed through some holes. So I guess my part is with Broderick. I think he's probably in the same boat. If we had less talent at defensive tackle, he probably would already be in there, and he'd probably be progressing. But, hey, it's great to have depth to where maybe you don't always need rookies to step in. Don, what he got, 12-5 is realistic. I'd agree with that, man. Standing for Liberty, Broderick played against the Raiders. He did. And overall, I'd say he wasn't bad. He wasn't great. He was kind of middle of the pack. But by the latter part of the game, you could see he was improving. Jeremy, we'll be fine once we start getting our guys back healthy after the bye week. Got to have faith at Holmes and MCDC. I agree with that, man. They both earned it, right? I mean, going through what they've done, rebuilding this team, I mean, we all get it. When they were hired, we're like, man, 2-3 years, these guys would be fired. Probably not many of us guessed in 2 years we'd be relevant. 3 years, we'd be making a push for the playoffs, hosting games, maybe even a run in the deep run in the postseason. Ozzy Osbourne, what do you got? Good morning, Dan. Do you think we will win our game on Thanksgiving? Haven't won on that day in a while. Man, I got to imagine you're coming out and you are throwing everything at them. I mean, every trick play, every design, exotic blitz, whatever. You got to do everything you can to win on that game, and you got to bury the Packers. So I do think we will. Robert, great trade for Donovan Peoples-Jones. Talked about it a little bit earlier, but I'm with you, man. The more you watch him, the more you think about why they got him. what he does to the running game as well. Yeah, it seems like a good pickup. All right, a couple more, and then it's Mountain Dew time for this guy. So, Bergs, what do you got? Considering what Brad and Dan walked into, people need to step back, look at what they actually have done. It's pretty remarkable, and it's not done. They're setting this franchise up for a potential dynasty. I would agree, and I think we talked about it yesterday, where I was saying, hey, you look at who they're trying to emulate, and they came out and said, we want to be Pittsburgh, Ravens, 49ers. Those particular franchises do things a certain way. We can say the 49ers in more recent years have been trading away picks to acquire players, but historically, beyond that, they do most of their building through the draft and a couple of key free agent signings. And all three of them, you can say this about them, they're consistently relevant. They rarely have incredibly long down times as far as between playoff runs or pushes. So they're good teams to emulate. Don, Ben Johnson to Chargers. Ooh, that's an idea. That's not a bad idea at all. Terry, do we have somebody on the staff to take over for the when the coordinators leave? Yeah, my guess is they're probably already trying to groom some of the people underneath them to get ready for those spots. That's my guess. I don't have any kind of inside knowledge, but that's usually how staffs evolve and progress, especially when they know the writing's on the wall, where some guys probably, or in this case, guys, are probably getting head coaching opportunities. Yeah, I knew what you meant, Bergs. Cloud, what do you got? Do you believe Brad Holmes is building to go all out in 2024? If so, why would Ben Johnson come back for 2023? Do you see him returning next year if we pay him cash? I guess first things first here. I don't really get the impression that Brad Holmes will probably ever go all out because I think he's looking for sustainable success. Now, with that being said, in free agency where it doesn't cost him draft picks, which, this dude values himself some draft picks, could they be a little bit more assertive, aggressive, trying to target specific players? I do think that. You look at this offseason, what they did, I think you'll see that again next year, maybe the year after that, but we'll wait and see. They could free up a whole lot of salary cap by getting rid of some of the guys that used to be starters in Detroit, who are now primarily backups. And as far as Ben Johnson and getting paid, it depends on who Ben Johnson wants to be. If he's okay with just being, I shouldn't say just, if he's okay with being an offensive coordinator and not pursuing the life of a head coach, then yeah, just pay him more and he's probably happy to stay. Don, one funky. Good morning to you, by the way. Don, I like Ben Johnson to Atlanta. That's another good idea. All right, Max, I'm really surprised Holmes didn't focus on cornerback for trade. Hopefully offseason. Yeah, I think in offseason, they're either going to try to draft one or sign one. I do believe the kid who went to Seattle, Weatherspoon, would have been a Lion if he had made it to 6, but he didn't. So he went in a different direction. Jay Martin ended up playing 10 downs with being double teamed a few times, with some of the sacks coming with him on the field. Yeah, and he did his job. And like I said, you watch him early, the first couple downs, you could see where he's getting blown up. After that, you could see where he's starting to calm down and progress. All right, guys, I'm going to wrap it up there. Wait, I tell you what, we'll get a few more here. I see that there's probably more comments than I realized. Manbear, I think Ben stays here for 2 more seasons. He said he wants to see this through in Detroit. Yeah, that's I've said my piece on it. I'm just thinking about his career, but to your point, he may just want to stay. Trey, if they finish with the first seed, I think they will make it to the Super Bowl and lose. I can see that, man. Because to your point, some of the heavyweights that would be real issues for Detroit, and not that everybody can't be an issue. They'll have to beat each other up to get to us. So we'll see what shakes out. But having it in Ford Field will be a huge advantage for the Lions. All right, Phil, what do you got? MCDC is still learning this too. This is a team, including the coaches. I would agree with that. Rob, we have one tough team to play still, and the other contenders have 5 or 6. Let's hope both Seattle and the Eagles lose this week. Both have tough games. Yeah, I'm 100% agreeing with you. We'll probably even try to do something like maybe Sunday morning, do a rooting guide, a rooting against guide. Just part of the fun of being this far in the season and still relevant is that even when the Lions aren't playing, you have a reason. It's almost like fantasy football. You have a reason to keep watching and go, man, come on, man. I need this team to win. I need this team to win. So, hey, it's going to be fun for us going into the end here. All right, guys, I'm going to wrap it up. I've got to get some stuff done and then, go get the morning dew, and then obviously come back, shower, get ready for work, all that kind of stuff. I hope you all have a great day. If there is some breaking news, I'll get on as quick as I can. If you guys got any thoughts or comments, leave it in the comment section. I mean, you guys all know what to do. If you haven't yet subscribed to Lions Talk Live, please consider doing so. Really like to try to make a push to get to 4,300 by the time we play the Chargers. When we get to 10,000 subs, I'm trying to orchestrate at Ford Field tailgate where all the subscribers come in, get some hopefully free Mountain Dew or snacks and stuff like that. And everybody just kind of have a good time. Enjoy your day, and we'll see you all on the next Lions Talk Live. Take care, guys.